Om Shanti. So today I was just thinking about um, every child of Baba intends to get rid of vices. Do you intend to get rid of vices? Yes. And yet we are very far away from heaven or or our complete stage. And then I was thinking about why it is so. And let's understand this, why we are in this situation. So, Baba says there are 5 main vices, and then there are others. So, lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. Now, what is your relationship with the vice of lust? Do you hate it? Okay, so you have to ask yourself. I'm not asking you to answer that. So because, when I asked you, what is your relationship with vices, then you immediately said that you don't want to be vicious. But then the fact is, our relationship with some vices is very good. And with others, it is not so good. So everybody wants to give up anger, or at least they want other people to give up their anger. so, so your relationship with anger also could be very interesting, because you hate anger, but not when it is you getting angry, but the other person getting angry. So, so if you look at genuinely, if you introspect, then we have a very good relationship with our vices. So you love your lustful side. You love it when you are able to get angry, when you are in a situation, in a position to get angry. Greed, great relationship with greed. Attachment. In fact, attachment is so celebrated that you always want to be attached and you want people to get attached to you. So attachment feels very sweet. And then ego, of course, when somebody hurts your ego, bad. But then you are able to be in a situation to demonstrate your ego, very good. So this is something that we need to understand about ourselves. And then again, our relationship with fear. We keep saying fear is natural, normal, and how can I not be afraid? And then our relationship with worry. Worry is part of our moral duty. So for half the things in the world, we are just worrying and taking care of them. So you don't need to do anything. You're just worrying for half the things in the world. And then what about laziness? So a very good relationship with laziness. Being lazy is, you love being lazy. And now, so we need to understand that there are these pairs of opposites. There is praise and defamation. Yes, there is loss and gain. There is life and death. There is somebody feeding your ego and somebody insulting you. So insult and appreciation. So in Hindi we say man apman, hani labh, ninda stuti, jay parajay. So success and failure. So these are pairs of opposites. And these pairs of opposites are like the seesaw. So you like going high on one side, then the fall is inevitable. So if you have a good relationship with praise, you will suffer from defamation also. If you feel good when somebody appreciates you, you will feel bad when somebody insults you also. If you are affected by success, you will be affected by failure also. So, and what we don't understand is we are trying to get rid of one half of our bad sanskars without taking care of the other half. So Baba says, and Maya is so sharp and so adept at it that sometimes we are trying very hard to work on not getting affected by insult. And then you know what Maya does? Maya puts you in a situation where there is only praise. And then one fine day, you come down. Somebody insults you, and then you have a bad day, but you don't understand that Maya gave you that sweet pill so that she could throw you down. So this is why, when we talk about Shrimat and when we talk about conscious effort, so we make this conditional effort, which is whenever I am feeling bad, hurt, sad, I want to work on the vice that is making me feel bad, hurt, or sad. Yes, if somebody insulted me, I want to work on that. But then I don't want to work on getting up early in the morning and fighting laziness. Because early morning sleep is very sweet. I don't want to work on lust if I have a very, very, very good relationship where there is consensual lust and there is no problem there. So I don't want to get rid of that. Yes, I want my boss to get rid of his ego, but I don't want to get rid of my ego that I'm a big achiever and I made it great at a very young age. So this is how Maya is deceiving us. Yes, I don't want to work on my greed. I don't want to share my money with Seva also. I just want that to be with me and to be used for the purposes I want them to be used. So I don't want my attachment to go away. And I don't want to be attached to situations which are, so there is this lady and she says, I don't have any attachment. I don't have any attachment with my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my my sister-in-law. but then you want to have a lot of attachment with your husband and your children and other places, and there you don't want to work on your attachment, or you don't want to get detached there. So this kind of a selective relationship with Maya doesn't work, and Maya is eating us up properly because of that. Okay, so this is why Baba says that there is a lot of tapasya required. We don't even see. So I will tell you one incident, and there was this. I was taking a session, and there was this lady who asked me how they should treat the people who they don't love too much, like they have hurt them in the past. And so I said, you should forgive them and you should try to have an amicable relationship with them, because that settlement is over. Now you don't have to go back to, again, reminding yourself of those days and those events. And then she was living away from her husband for very long, and she called up her husband, and then there was a divorce case going on, but then she called up her husband, and then the divorce case got messed up, and then the husband took advantage of that call also. And then they had been living away for very long, and then the husband spoiled that whole scenario by living together for some days, and that affected her alimony. But then she did not make amends with her sister-in-law, who was staying just around the corner. So she had a not so loving relationship with her sister-in-law also. But then she didn't apply that piece of knowledge there. She applied that piece of knowledge in the case of her husband. Why? Because, even knowledge is applied very selectively. And sometimes Maya deceives us and makes us feel that we are applying knowledge. But actually, it is our lust and our attachment that is driving us. Yes, do you get my point? It's a very interesting way in which Maya works. And sometimes you are applying all the gyan of acceptance to where your lust and attachment is intact, and no acceptance in the other areas. So this is why, we listen to Baba, but without surrendering completely, sometimes, Maya keeps giving us a good time in her lap, and we don't even understand that we are being deceived by Maya. Yes, and then we think about Mansa Seva, and there are lots of questions people ask me that, how do we serve with the mind? So the first thing is, make your mind powerful enough to serve. There is a very good word that Baba has told us, which is serviceable. So is my mind serviceable? Can I really sit in one thought for some time? So let me not try to serve with the most ineffective tool I have. Let me try to serve with the tools that I have, which are effective. So I have a body, let me serve with that. I have money, let me serve with that. I know 10,000 people, let me serve with that. Yes, let me serve with my position if I hold a position. Let me serve with that first. If I can use my words in a very good way, let me serve with my words. Let me not go and try to serve with the mind when the mind is not even capable of, concentrating and remembering Baba for some time. Let me use my mind to remember Baba. Let me train my mind and make it serviceable. And let me see where my mind goes, so that I can serve with that. So if my mind is going too much to people, then let me use that contact for seva. And let me then disconnect my mind from there and take it to Baba and make it serviceable. Yes, so this is something that we need to understand. What kind of a, and yesterday there was this whole question about changing the culture. So there was somebody who was talking about changing the culture, and they were specifically pointing out to changing the culture of body shaming. And they said that this should stop, and nobody should tell anybody about whether they are thin or tall or fat or short or dark or light. And they were talking about this thing. Then I told them, you see, a culture changes when your sanskar changes. So Baba has given us 3 words: sanskar, sanskriti, and sansar. So first your sanskar will change, then your sanskriti will change. You cannot change the sanskriti without changing the sanskar. And then they said, no, we don't body shame. So we are changing that sanskar. So I said, no, but if you get affected by body shaming, that is also body shaming. Yes, so somebody told you, you are fat, and they gave you a vibration which told you there is something wrong with being fat. Yes? Now, you took that and you processed it in your mind. They called me fat, and that's something that's bad. Now, if you cannot take that thing without that vibration, which is, even if they mean that it's wrong to be like this, you can just take it, and if you are not body conscious, there's nothing wrong with it. So there is no reaction coming from you. And when there is no reaction coming from you, then the reaction will be there. Do you get it? Because if you say something which you don't feel is the appropriate thing to say, or which you understand that is coming from a low sanskar from them, then they will be able to understand that that's not what they should be speaking about. But if you are affected by it, they will not get that message. So you cannot change the sanskar by changing the you cannot change the sanskriti without changing the sanskar. Yes, and the sanskar lies in both these things. Dealing with your superiority complexes and dealing with your inferiority complexes. Because both these are aspects of the body and the material world. So if you're body conscious and you have placed your identity with the body and things and achievements and accomplishments you have, then you will get affected by it. And that is why this culture of affecting you in that way will persist. So this is what we need to understand. If you have a good relationship with your superiority complexes, then you will have a good relationship with your inferiority complexes also. Because you are not soul conscious, you are body conscious. So if some aspects of your body consciousness will give you a high, then others will pull you down. So we need to understand what's going on inside, and just, we have been projecting what's going on inside onto the world. And we have always said that the world is going through a bad time, and people's behaviors are at the worst, and nature is at its worst right now. But basically, we are at our worst right now inside. And then if we work on that inside, then things on the outside will automatically change. So I need to, with a lot of honesty, see what my relationship with vices is. And I don't want to sleep in the lullaby that these sweet vices are singing for me. And only then will I be able to deal with the other ones, which I really want to deal with. Okay, so today, why I'm giving you this background is because today there is a lot of discussion in the Murli about Brahma-Baba. Now, we need to understand who Brahma-Baba is and what Brahma-Baba did. So you see, Shiv Baba came from the soul world and then he descended into Brahma-Baba's body. And then Brahma-Baba was a very he was a jeweler who had his business pan-India, and there were foreign customers at that time, and he was a very celebrated businessman. And he had a big family, so a lot of relationships. He was a very, he was held very highly in the society, so a lot of ego. And then he had a lot of wealth. And then when Baba came to Brahma-Baba and sent the message that you become pure and create a pure world, then what did Baba do? Surrendered his body, his relationships, his wealth, his ego. Yes, and surrendered everything in the yajna and used it for the establishment of a new world. So he had 5 children, or I don't know, 4 children, and then he didn't give a penny to any of his children. He used all of that money for seva. And he was such a celebrated businessman, and then everybody in and around him didn't like the idea that he was teaching, or he was becoming the instrument for teaching celibacy in marriages. And then they defamed him, and he lost all that reputation that he had earned, that goodwill he had earned for so long. But then he didn't care, because he said, no, my ego or my swaman is that Baba, God himself, belongs to me. I don't care about these things. I do Baba's task anyway. So getting rid of ego was not easy. Getting rid of attachment to relationships was not easy. Getting rid of attachment to wealth was not easy. And he was at the age of 60 when Baba entered his physical body. And from the age of 60 to 92, he did every physical work possible. So Baba entered his body at the age when people retire, but he chose to slog all day and all night. So Baba says that if you sacrifice, you become sacred. And in one of the classes, I told you that, Vastu, Vyakti, Vaibhav. So things, people, money, position, these are the things with which our vices are attached. So until and unless we sacrifice those, if you're not able to tell your family 10 times that you need to undertake the course, up to the point where they start hating you, then you have not surrendered your relationships. Yes, they shouldn't hate you because of wrong energy. Let's be clear about this. Whenever you give Baba's message, it should be with a lot of love. But then that message should be given so many times that even the ones close to you know that you're closer to Baba. And that's surrendering relationships. And I will give you a very funny example. So there is this sister, and she said, I'm in a lot of trouble these days. So I said, why? So she said, because nobody makes a phone call to me these days. So I said, okay. And you want to say something else? So she said, you see, Didi, when I came to Baba, every time anybody called, I would say, this is my Murli time, this is my meditation time, this is my time to go to the center, this is my time for preparing bhog, offering bhog. And then now everybody has stopped calling me. And they know, and whenever they call also, the first line they say is, I hope it is not time for your Murli or meditation or your bhog. And I hope you're free to talk to me. So she said, now I miss them badly because I don't have such a good relationship with Baba as I made them believe I have. So now I'm not able to be with Baba all the time, and I want them to call me, but they're not calling me. So she said, I'm saying this very frankly to you, Didi. So I said, okay. So now they know you are very close to Baba, but you don't know you are that close to Baba. So she said, yes, that is the problem. So when you belong to Baba in such a way, then your relationships will get surrendered. Yes, and I will tell you, many children tell me that, when you have adopted a life with Baba, then sometimes what happens is somebody is around you and it's like you attend the class at 7:30 in the morning. Then, if you're talking to somebody and it's 7:25, they will tell you, don't you have a class today? And why will they tell you? Because and you think of it, just by being in a genuine relationship with Baba, you have trained them to think about Baba at 7:25. Whenever they look at the clock and it's 7:25, they think about you sitting with Baba. And that's seva. That is seva. Yes, and I know of many people, many brothers and sisters, they tell me that we never went to the center, but our mother went or my father went, and we know BKs properly. They don't know we know, but we know them properly because they used to go and we used to observe. So Baba says, sacrifice your relationships, sacrifice your your position, status, your body, everything, and sacrificing will make it sacred. And this sacrificing of Vastu, Vyakti, Vaibhav will also make you free from vices. And this is why Brahma-Baba chose this first. Now, there is a law which we need to understand. The law is, you always move from gross to physical, gross to subtle. You cannot start with the subtle, right? So these days, we are becoming angels without becoming Brahmins. So, no celibacy, but Mansa Seva is going on. So, no surrender to the yagya, but it is like we are permanently remembering Baba. That is not the way it works. So Baba says, First, understand that you have to physically belong to Baba. Your time, your energy, your contacts, your position, your wealth, this has to first belong to Baba. And when this belongs to Baba, then all of this gets purified. And when this gets purified, then this can be used for seva. And I tell you one thing, I have a very big swaman that if in the drama there is a scene where I give my time to somebody, then that time will not go waste. I have this very big swaman that I have always used my time with Baba's Shrimat. So my time will never get wasted. So even if, I meet somebody on the street and they take my time, they want an address, even that soul will reach Baba after some time. I know that. So if you have used everything, every physical thing, your time, your thought, your energy, your wealth, your everything, contacts, relationships, everything to bring them closer to Baba or to use them in seva, then every aspect of your life will serve you later on in life. So if you have used your time to serve, your time will serve you tomorrow, or your time will never get wasted. So this is something we need to understand, that we need to have an honest heart about our intentions and not have, this sly relationship with vices and do one thing and keep deceiving ourselves or allow Maya to deceive us. Okay, so we need to understand these things, and we also need to understand that whenever we surrender to Baba, the surrender has to be very, very physical first. Yes. So Baba today in the Murli says, sweet children, the Father has come to serve you. You have to become equal to the Father and also serve everyone else. Now, how do you become equal to the Father? So Brahma-Baba became equal to Shiv Baba. Yes, Brahma-Baba imbibed all his qualities. So this is why we need to understand the process Brahma-Baba adopted, because if we want to become serviceable and if we want to become like Brahma-Baba, then we need to understand what Brahma-Baba did. Okay, now there is a question. Acha, please also explain that what Baba means by drawing parallels from the rivers and the canals with the knowledge in today's Murli. So Baba says that just like there are big rivers, there are big ponds, there are big lakes, and then there are small ones. So children are also number-wise. Yes, and then Baba says that whenever the population grows, then you need more water. So canals are put in place. So Baba says that now that the numbers are growing, number of children are growing, you need more centers, you need more seva. So this is something that we need to understand. Okay. So this is about Brahma-Baba and our relationship with vices. Now today the blessing is, may you be worthy and an image that grants visions, and prove this by putting all the teachings into practice. So Baba says, Baba is teaching us a lot of things. The second stage is we reflect on it. And the third stage is we become an image of the teaching. Yes. So Let me give you a very simple example. If you told somebody that if you are in a situation when somebody is arguing with you, you should stay quiet and put a full stop to it. Okay? Now, they start arguing with you on that point. That how can somebody put a full stop and just stay quiet? So, you should this and that and the other. And then you don't stay quiet and you go on proving your point. Then you shared the point, but you didn't become the point. Got it? So one thing is knowing the point. Second thing is reflecting on the point. And the third thing is becoming an embodiment of that point. So, and when you become an embodiment of the point, then that is true service. And Baba says that become that. And I've given you a very interesting example. Think about it. Yes, so people argue endlessly about peace. But what they don't do is adopt peace. And you cannot have a proof of peace without being peaceful. And if winning still matters more than being peaceful, then peacelessness has won, not peace. So we need to understand these things. And Baba in the blessing says, the children who do not just keep the teachings in their intellects in the form of teachings, but put them into practice and remain stable in the stage of embodiments of knowledge, embodiments of love, and embodiments of peace. Those who put every point of knowledge into practice are able to remain stable in a point form. And the biggest proof of the fact that we are applying knowledge is we will always be like a point inside, which is very subtle, very light, and in a full stop stage where there is no disturbance inside. And this will only happen when you are actually applying every point of knowledge in your personal life. It is easy to think about or speak about a point, but to become that and give that experience to other souls is to prove it. But if you become a point and you give that experience by becoming that. And I have never heard that. So when we listen to experiences from Baba's children, they always say, I saw this sister, I saw this teacher, I saw this instrument, and they were so sweet, so quiet, so full of peace. We wanted to become like that. So you don't want to become like the one you hear, you want to become like the one you see. And that is true service. That is what it is to be worthy and become an image that grants visions. So Baba says, you can become the image that will grant them the vision of what peace feels and looks like. Okay, or any point of knowledge looks like. Okay. Slogan is, increase the power of concentration and the wandering of the mind and intellect will stop. So Baba says, there is a law. Whatever you resist will persist. So if you resist the wandering of the mind and intellect, it's not going to stop. You just increase your power of concentration. And what is that power of concentration? So whenever you check yourself, just try to realign your mind and intellect with Baba. Take it to Baba. Pull it from wherever it is plugged in and take it to Baba. Always keep doing this exercise. Check and change, check and change. And then slowly, gradually, you will see that your mind and intellect has stopped wandering. Don't tell it, no, don't go there. Tell it, this is time to remember Baba. We'll do that later. We'll do that later. And have you seen that this we have this very good capacity to procrastinate? Yes, and we keep delaying and postponing stuff. So if you keep postponing Maya, slowly it will lose interest in you. So don't fight with Maya. Tell, this is my time for bhog. This is my time for remembering Baba. So we'll do that thing later. And then slowly, gradually, when you increase this connection with Baba, your mind and intellect will stop wandering. Okay, Om Shanti.